Good morning. It's time for your weekly kick. Today I want to reference an article that I read last week in our paper here in Saskatoon. What the article was about is there's a playground, similar to the one that's just down the street from my house here, that they had a metal slide, and there was a mom in the neighborhood who complained to the city that it was too hot when it was 30 degrees Celsius outside or hotter than that. And so she expected the city to do something about it. Well, what the city ended up doing is closing it down. They closed that particular slide down because one person had complained that it got too hot. And then somebody else chimed in on the article that, you know what, in winter, with the ice and stuff, it just gets so slippery for the kids. And this was a huge problem in their mind. Well, the reality is, when I was a kid and when you were a kid, and even with my own children, it didn't take much to learn. Usually it took one time to realize that a metal slide gets hot when it's hot outside. And if you're wearing shorts, you stay away from it. If you're wearing pants, you might be able to get away with sliding down. But it usually didn't take that much to learn. You know what, it burns, it hurts if I go on there with a pair of shorts when it's hot outside. And in winter, the fact that it was slipperier, that was what we look forward to. That was awesome, because then we'd go even faster. That's the whole point. What we're seeing in many cases around us is helicopter parents. How many times have you had a parent call you, or even I've heard of parents coming in for an interview with their child, and their child, quote, child, is in their 20s. I'm sorry, but when somebody's in their 20s, they're not a child anymore. They're not a kid, they're an adult. These are examples of helicopter parenting, and they are challenges that we've never had to face in leadership before, especially in the trades. Parents are talking to and complaining to the high school teachers, to the university profs, trade school teachers about the marks that their kids are getting, that they're not high enough. Well, instead of going, why didn't you study harder? Why didn't you do the work? Why didn't you put extra time in and get a better mark? It's like, well, why didn't you give my child a better mark? They deserve it. Oh, no, they don't, because they didn't do the work. That's the reality. But those of us in the workforce and who are leading in the workforce, now we're having to find ways to help these adult children learn how to be productive in the real world. Now, don't get me wrong, there is an awful lot of millennials and then people in the generation below them coming up now who are great to work with. They've got a strong work ethic, they're bright, they're quick, they're creative, and they're some of the best people I've worked with. So this is a generalization, but it's not everybody, not by a long shot. But you and I are going to have to lead people who are coming from helicopter parenting backgrounds. How do we lead them effectively? Oh, we can get rid of them. We can fire them. Yeah, we can do that. But we're also going to lose the potential of some very good people. If you look back a few years, we used to listen to all our music on this, and if you go back a little bit further, it was cassettes, and before that it was 8-tracks and LPs, the big records, and then the small records. Well, we used to listen to music on these things. We used to listen to speeches and talks on these sorts of things. And you can fit a whole bunch of songs, and the DVD was a big improvement over the cassette, because the cassette, if you were listening to it in your vehicle in winter, you had to warm up the inside of the vehicle substantially so it wouldn't warp the tape or rip the tape or bunch it up. The CD was a big improvement over that. Well, now, I rarely put a CD in my truck. What it usually is a USB stick or my phone. I can fit literally thousands of songs on this one USB stick. I'm still listening to music. I'm still listening to people talk, whatever the case may be, but the medium has changed. It's still music. That hasn't changed. And it's the same as leadership. Leadership is still leadership. People are still people, but the issues are different. And so as leaders, we need to be looking for those new tools that are going to help us lead this generation and generations to come more effectively, so we can bring out the best in the coming generations, because there's some tremendous people there, and we want to help them reach their potential in their lives and in their careers. So we've got the opportunity to be different kind of leaders than what we've been. When's the last time you've added a tool to your toolbox, your leadership toolbox? When's the last time you've done that? Think back. When have you gone, this is something I can use that'll be really effective in this situation? And then you've put it into practice. If it's been a while, it's about time that you get some more tools. We all need to keep growing and getting better at what we do. We just need to change the medium sometimes, how we do things. It's still leadership, it's still people, is still trying to help them be productive and have high quality and do their best and reach their potential in their careers and in their lives. That's leadership. That hasn't changed. But the medium sometimes changes. Sometimes how we do it and how we go about it, we need to think a little bit differently about that. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears in the next few weeks. I'm going to be giving you some of these tools. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.